Alrighty, good morning everybody. It is Thursday, July 13th, 2023. Let's go ahead and jump into our pre-market analysis. What I want to do first, like I do every day, is go back and take a look at what happened here on Wednesday of this week. So we came into the market, and remember, everything was still really strong. We started to see, if we come up to our higher time frames, we're starting to see, in fact, we still kind of see it today, that is the buildup of a potential bearish signal again off the highs, kind of like we started to see back from those Friday highs before July 4th. Those are starting to show up a little bit on the daily, maybe even arguably on the weekly. And like I said yesterday, in a strong market, we are going to start to see these things build up. But what we want to see is the hourly, 4-hour, and daily agree. And that's probably where we will get some type of little pullback or micro pullback. And so yesterday we had the 4-hour and the daily, but the hourly wasn't really showing anything. And so that's why we expected the market to continue to push. So let's look at the 512 so we can see the details here. So we were bulls expecting the market to continue to push higher. This is where the market opened here. And as you can see, it was a very slow little rally up and came right to, and this has to be the sexiest thing to happen yesterday, is we had our scaffolding up here, and it just so happened that the market came right to it. It failed off of it to the tick here multiple times, and then we had one little peek through that was less than 2 points, and then we got a deeper pullback. So that's why I tell you guys, when we're looking at our levels, even when you have something close together, maybe something like the magenta, 50% of the previous day there, and the scaffolding here, a lot of times we see the market come up, come into one of our levels, pull back, and then it'll come right back up, come to the next one, and get a pullback off of that. And that's what we saw here yesterday, right? So we got a nice breakout up through this scaffolding area over here and came right up. So let's look at, again, let's look at it from the 512 perspective. And you can see just, I mean, literally to the tick here, touching that level, barely breaking it. And then the sell-off began. So there's your beautiful pullback. You get below the 200, come right back to it, and sell off there. That was a nice little, I don't know, 4-point, 5-point pullback there. Retested, again, barely breaking by more than 1.5 points there. And then there's the plays off the FMA to continue to sell off. Now, this would have been a great opportunity to buy the market, being that we were bulls on the pullback. It just so happens that the bears were really strong, so they ripped it right through. But despite that, again, there's that play coming down through the VWAP now and coming back to the back end to fail and continue to go lower. So it came up right into the 200, again, one tick in front of it there to rotate back down, and then we got some sideways action going into lunch, and it was a pretty choppy situation after that, right? So unless you were long, again, trying, and I didn't even talk about this, trying to play the pullbacks into the 200 here for the bullish side, unless you grabbed it long up into our next expected resistance zone, which was our first, literally the first level that we mentioned as being potential resistance for the bulls yesterday. If you didn't catch that, and there were even some great plays here coming up into it multiple times, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 opportunities to get long off the 200. If you didn't get those, then this sell-off was your next opportunity to make a little bit of money. In fact, it's not a sell-off, but more so a pullback in the market. You could have captured a little bit of money there, but then it went sideways. So the whole end of the day, from about, let's say, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, or maybe 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific, it basically just became a sideways chop fest. Now, were there opportunities in here? Were there beautiful pullbacks and plays off the 200 still going on? Yeah, still plenty of opportunities to continue to use that as a very low risk area to try a trade. And what do I mean by low risk? I mean, it doesn't break by more than a couple ticks, a couple points, and we get our rotations from there. So still some great holds, still some nice pushes right into the close of the day before that led to pullbacks nearly to the tick. Holds from the upside off of the close of the day before as well here, all throughout this kind of end of the day. And then even at the end of the day, came back to the close still couldn't get through it, and then failed. So if we were watching this in real time, seeing that we made a high in the market and failed from a very important area in the chart, and then we started to make lower highs, by the time we came over here and we failed, and what happened to the close of the day before there? Or what happened to that level? I don't know where did that go? It just disappeared. So as it was failing here, and that I'm a little bit shaken here. What happened to that level that was just coming across? Maybe that was from, oh, I see. So that wasn't an official level. That's an official level for today. So despite all that, let me bring this back. Despite that, as it continued to sell off, we made the high off of this structure level, continued to sell off. At this point, we were making lower highs, lower highs. You could have tried again. This would be something I might be interested in trying as well, is as the market failed again with a lower high compared to, the afternoon high and then the high from the morning, I probably would have been interested in shorting the back end of that VWAP there. Would have I made any money? No, because it only went, again, didn't break by more than 2 points there, but it didn't really go anywhere. So it went about 2, maybe 3 points lower, and I probably wouldn't have made any money there. But I'm just trying to show you ideas as to what you might be thinking as the market is failing from a structure zone and it's continuing to push and make lower highs. Well, maybe getting short off the back end of VWAP would be a good play to go into the end of the day. And this was right 5 minutes before the close. So that would have been something I would have tried there, but then they took it right back up, right? So it was a very choppy afternoon. Still some really nice discrete holds off our levels. I was looking at this close of the day before, but it's actually the close of the day before for today. So forgive me there. But despite that, like I said, some beautiful holds off the 200, some beautiful holds off VWAP, and then on the sell-off as well. So that kind of wraps up what we were doing yesterday. We did expect the market to try to continue to push higher. However, and I do want to point out that we did break out through the high of the day before and continue to push higher, and then came up and just couldn't get this through the structure zone. So they found some resistance. The bulls couldn't get enough strength to break out, and then it just was sideways. But now coming into this morning, we have just broken through the high of yesterday, which again was right around our scaffolding level, and now it's continuing to try to push to new highs, and we got a couple new highs here in the pre-market session. Some other interesting things in the pre-market here. All night, you could have bought the FMA or the VWAP here as a bull, expecting for the push to go higher, and you would have gotten about a 10 to 15 point push from when the Globex session opened. And you've got plenty of opportunities in here, even if you didn't buy out of the open, maybe off of that FMA. You had great opportunities here in the overnight session to buy pullbacks into VWAP, pullbacks into the FMA, and then here's that really nice correction right back to VWAP for a pop again. All right, so that brings us into this morning. We're going to go ahead and jump up to our higher time frames now and take a look at what the charts are saying.